What's going on, guys? JSGC here, back again with another Manchester City reaction as Man City make it back-to-back defeats. Loss against Newcastle at the weekend in the Premier League, followed by a home loss here against Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League. Man City seamlessly coasting towards a top 8 finish, or so we thought. Pep Guardiola decides to shake things up. 10 changes for no reason whatsoever, and Manchester City, surprise, lose this game against a very good Bayer Leverkusen team, an informed team. I think it's 5 wins in the last 6 games. A team sitting third in the Bundesliga, but we're going to make 10 changes, have everything nice and disjointed ahead of a trip to the Bernabeu up next. And all of a sudden, we've gone from coasting to looking in being a fair bit of bother about making a top 8 spot in the Champions League. Unless, of course, we can go to the Bernabeu and take points, which, going off this performance, yeah, that ain't going to be happening. The team selection, because for me, that is the big fatal error made by Manchester City in this game. And I get why Pep Guardiola has done this. He wants to keep the team nice and fresh. We've had loads of international call-ups during the international break. The players are tired. He wants them to be rotated. I look, though, at Man City's fixture list and I think to myself, you want to do full, whole-scale rotation, you've got to pick and choose your games to do it. And Pep Guardiola seamlessly looked at the fixture list and he's looked at the Champions League and said, we can afford a free hit. I was expecting that free hit to be against Real Madrid, and I think to myself, if you do want to rotate fully, then surely you'd have been better going full strength here, win this game. So then we're looking at, what, 2 wins needed from 3 games. You've got a free hit game against Real Madrid where you could just go to the Bernabeu, do full rotation and just get that game over with. And no one's going to bat an eyelid. You're not going to bat an eyelid if Man City go to the Bernabeu and lose. No one's going to think much of it, to be honest. I wouldn't think much of it, to be honest. I'd like Man City to go to the Bernabeu, and Man City playing at the very best of their ability can go to the Bernabeu and beat Real Madrid. However, the Manchester City team struggling for a little bit of form right now, being bullied, struggling with the physicality, struggling with bits of quality, struggling on the road. It wouldn't surprise me to see Real Madrid do something against us. So that, for me, was always going to be a free hit game. We wanted to get to that game with it being a free hit without us being under pressure, needing to do something at the Bernabeu. Why on earth have we rotated here? Because we've now got to go to the Bernabeu. We're looking at, for me, the magic numbers 16, potentially 17 points will get you to the top 8 in the Champions League and get you through to the last 16 of the Champions League. And we've run the risk here of us potentially finishing below the top 8, and doing so takes us to the playoff game. And we saw what happened with the playoffs last year. You run the risk of taking on a really good team, and all of a sudden you're then doing toe for toe to try and just, scrape to get to the last 16. That's why we went out last year, because it just wasn't good enough. And, we've been such a comfortable, good position. I don't get why Pep's made these changes here. I really don't. I get what he's looking for in terms of trying to get the players well rested, but I look at the facts. The facts are, you're taking on a team third in the Bundesliga in a huge Champions League game. We're not at a free hit stage as of yet. And now we've got a lot of work to do to get to the last 16 of the Champions League automatically in then top 8 spots. I'm going to put my neck on the line, and I think we're looking at 17 points. I think we need 7 more points. That means we've got to go to the Bernabeu now and get a result. We've got to get points. Not, even talking about the fact that in January we've got to go to Bodo Glimt. We've got to go to the Arctic Circle in Norway, sub-zero temperatures, playing on an artificial pitch that a lot of our players won't be used to, playing in really, treacherous conditions. Conditions that, the Bodo Glimt players will be used to playing in. We're not going to be used to playing in that. That becomes a real difficult game to, and that's more than likely going to be a must-win game for Man City as well. And then Galatasaray final game at home, where Galatasaray more than likely going to have something to play for going into that game as well. So that's not going to be an easy game either. Nothing's easy about the Champions League. What you don't do in the Champions League, when you've not mathematically sealed things up, is make 10 changes like we have. And Pep said, and this caused me a lot of concern, he couldn't make 11 changes because he had no one to come in for Nico G. Because if we had Kovacic or Rodri available today, they would have started ahead of Nico G and it would have been 11 changes. You want to make these changes, fine, pick and choose your teams that you're going to do them against. You do these things against teams that are in a lower division than you when you're playing them in the Carabao Cup. You do not do this in the Champions League, because you will get found out and you will get punished. And that's exactly what has happened. Doesn't surprise me that the quality of Grimaldo and Schick scoring both the goals for Leverkusen today has come through. This is a huge result for Bayer Leverkusen. Their Champions League campaign, slow start, now all of a sudden back-to-back wins, they're getting the momentum. Our momentum just being taken away from us. And it's all on Pep. He makes the team selection. There's just no need at all for the 10 changes to be made. You want to rotate, do what we do every season, season upon season. 2, 3, 4 players per game. Pick your games. Leeds United is our next game. They sit in the relegation zone in the Premier League. You look at that game, surely you're looking at Leverkusen at home and Leeds United at home, and you're saying full rotation, team that sits third in the Bundesliga in a must-win Champions League game. Or, on the other hand, do you do your rotation against a team sitting in the relegation zone who are more than likely going to throw 11 men behind the ball, where you can make wholesale changes and hope that you can find and make something stick? Because at the minute, we're in a good position in the Champions League. That good position now has just become a, potentially in jeopardy position if things go south for us in Spain against Real Madrid, against you're 7 points behind Arsenal. And, our players will be nice and fresh for the Leeds game. What do you do if we drop points against Leeds? Because we're getting towards a point now where you can't afford to give Arsenal an 8 to 10 point gap at the top of the Premier League. Arsenal might be serial bottlers, but trust me, they're a team that wants to win the Premier League. You can't allow them to get too far ahead. We're at the real fine part of the season. This is the part of the season where everything was crumbling down for Man City last season, and you just get a sense here. You look at the schedule, you think to yourself, Leeds at home, Fulham away, Sunderland at home, 3 games, it's got to be 9 points. Anything short of 9 points and we're not going to win the Premier League. And then we've just sacrificed here a really good position in the Champions League to try and focus on the Premier League. And my mind blows because I don't get it. Why would you do that? Why would you sacrifice such a good position? You win this game with 4 points away from qualification. 3 games, 4 points. Turn your focus to the Premier League. Your best preparation, game on game, when you're playing every 3 to 4 days, is through your form. Your best preparation is winning your last game, taking the confidence, taking that form, and bringing it forward to your next game. The worst preparation that you can have when you've made 10 changes, players are nice and fresh for your next game. The worst prep you can have is you've done them changes, you've sacrificed the game, and it's back-to-back losses. We're under tremendous pressure now against Leeds. Leeds have got no pressure at all. Not one bit. They're expected to lose at the Etihad Stadium. We now have got that Leeds game's now become just the most important game of our season so far. The most important. As far as I'm concerned, it's a cup final for us. We don't win that game, and we don't win the Premier League as far as I'm concerned, even at this early stage. Might sound very dramatic, but for everything that I've seen from Manchester City so far this season, some progress has been shown in other stages. And then we just come out with this real bizarre call from Pep today, and all of a sudden things looking nowhere near as rosy or as good as what things were looking. I looked at that Newcastle game. The defence caused me concern, but City's ability not to put the ball in the back of the net was frustrating. But I didn't have that many causes for concern. I have a lot of causes for concern from this game because it's all come down to the manager and it's all come down to Pep and that team selection. The team selection was wrong. I want to see Pep come out and take some accountability. I want to see him hold his hands up and say that my decision making in this game and the team selection was wrong. I've got it wrong. I'm the reason that we've lost this game. Then you can start to digest the other big talking point of Man City's rotated team. They're not getting enough minutes for me to answer as to how good of a quality we're looking at here. When players aren't playing that regularly, it's so difficult for them to embed themselves into a game. And if you're taking on a good team like Leverkusen, whether it be home or away, you're going to struggle because Leverkusen are too good of a team to do that against. You can do that against teams that are playing in lower divisions than you because they're not used to playing the quality that you can put on offer. So I look towards, for example, when we played Huddersfield Town earlier this season away from home, you can make them wholesale changes, you can coast that game, you can win that game, and you can make that game about quality. Because Huddersfield Town haven't got the quality that City have. Bayer Leverkusen, when you go toe for toe on paper with Man City's first 11, they can't compete with City, and City can make this game about quality. However, the rotated 11. If that was the 11 that started week on week for a full season, I'd be confident that that 11 that we put out today would be able to beat Leverkusen. However, when that team's never really played with each other before, you're going to have difficulties. It took too long to get up to scratch. The midfield battles were being won by a Leverkusen. They were finding it all too easy to get forward, and once more pulling them strings from their wing backs, creating and making things happen. Tino Livramento did a very good job of that on the right hand side for Newcastle on Saturday, and today what we're seeing is Grimaldo on the left hand side pulling strings, making things happen from that Bayer Leverkusen left hand side and City's right hand side, and all round it just wasn't good enough. They're not competing defensively. The gaps between defence and midfield too big, and definitely the gaps between midfield and attack too big. City nowhere near aggressive enough, and I'm sat here now not only talking about Pep Guardiola getting the team selection massively wrong, but also I look at certain players and I'm thinking to myself, are we looking here at individually just players just aren't good enough? And if we get injuries this season, we're in a very desperate situation, because the quality that we've got on offer just isn't good enough, and it's fallen short, well short in this game. That causes me a tremendous amount of concern, because I'm thinking to myself now, because you're playing every 3 to 4 days through end of November and into December. You need your rotated players, and you need them when they get called upon to take their opportunities and grab it with both hands. All the players, the 10 players that's come in to this game, Pep Guardiola's got no headache for the game against Leeds. Not one player ever been impressed with today, not one. And you're asking players to come off the bench and make the impact in the second half to get up to scratch with the game, and they're not playing around players that they're used to playing around. Just the whole thing's just a mess. Honestly, the whole thing's just a mess, and it all just falls down to the manager's got the team selection wrong. The team's wrong. If the team's not right, you aren't winning games. Against good teams, you're going to lose them. And that's what's happened today. Not clinical in front of goal. Team doesn't know how to play with each other. Team selection's all wrong. Bayer Leverkusen keep a clean sheet. Flecken loves a clean sheet as well. He always plays ever so well against us, so he'll be delighted to get his clean sheet against Man City here. And we can't score goals. And the rotated team, for me, not good enough. And the team selection today, borderline for me, idiotic, disgraceful, whatever word you want to, whatever adjective you want to use to describe it. It's just insert here, because it's just not good enough. Absolutely not good enough. They're my thoughts, guys. Please do get your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to know what you're thinking. What's gone wrong here for City? What are the lessons to be learned? Where do we go from here? What was Pep thinking? Let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget as well to leave a thumbs up on today's video. Do subscribe as well if you're new around here. It is free to subscribe. Social media links there in the description too if you want to go and follow me on my X, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. And I'll see you all again tomorrow for the next City video. I'll probably do a transfer update to try and improve the vibe. I'm getting pretty fed up of having to put transfer updates out to try and improve morale amongst everybody because of how things are going on the pitch, because it's just everything's just slipping away. And so yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy. Peace. Ciao for now.